This is the story of a female nurse who seemed apparently normal, but turned out to be a murderer whose crimes are so truly horrific that she will forever rank among the worst killers in history. Her name Lucy Letby. Born in Hereford on January 4, 1990, Letby is the only child of John and Susan Letby. She qualified as a children's nurse at the University of Chester in 2011 and first started working at the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital on January 2, 2012. In 2016 she bought a house near the ward with childlike decor throughout the house. In her bedroom, fluffy toys were laid across a duvet inscribed with the words "Sweet Dreams." She had friends and an active social life. At work, she was trusted and apparently dedicated, having completed specialist training in March 2014 and regularly working in what was called Nursery 1, where the most ill children were cared for. For the most part, Letby was considered average at her job, and has been described as vanilla. It is only now that it's realized that these are attributes which helped her carry out her murders. A member of the prosecution team described her as devious, calculated and cold-blooded. The mortality rate at Chester Hospital started to rise in 2015, 3 years after Letby had started working there. Despite being present for every one of the deaths brought against her in court, the nurse maintained that she was simply unlucky. Letby was accused of committing the murders in a 1-year period, between June 2015 and June 2016, during her 5-year career. Letby used several methods to kill or severely injure the helpless victims, including physical assaults, overfeeding with milk, forcing air into their stomachs, and injecting air into their bloodstreams. 2 victims survived after Letby poisoned their 4-drip bags with insulin. Sometimes parents walked in as she attacked their babies, naturally not realizing what had been happening when they walked in. Her victims included both boys and girls, many of whom were born prematurely. The prosecution argued that she also targeted twins and in one case triplets. She murdered 2 of the triplets. After she had killed the infants, Letby searched for 11 of the victims' families on social media and even sent one set of parents a sympathy card on the day of their baby's funeral. It is thought that colleagues became suspicious of Letby within weeks of the first attack. Dr. Ravi Jairam, who is a consultant pediatrician at the Countess of Chester Hospital, said he repeatedly raised concerns about his former colleague months before police were alerted. It was almost 2 years after the first babies died before police were eventually contacted by the trust. Dr. Jairam said that his suspicions about Letby were confirmed when he walked in on the nurse attending to a baby one evening. He noted that the child's breathing tube had become dislodged, something he believed could only have been done manually. In April 2017 the trust allowed doctors to meet with a police officer who took their suspicions seriously. The police, after listening to them for less than 10 minutes, realized that this is something that they had to be involved with. Shortly afterwards, an investigation was launched and Letby was eventually arrested. After her arrest, on searching her property, police found medical and handover notes taken from the ward as well as notes filled with hundreds of scrawled words in black ink. She had written, "I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough to care for them, and I am evil, I did this." After listening to 30 weeks of evidence, from nearly 300 witnesses, the 7 women and 4 men on the jury were left to make a decision on the 17 children she was accused of murdering or attempting to murder. In the end, jury gave 7 guilty verdicts for murder, and 6 for attempted murder. She was found not guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder, while the jury did not reach verdicts on 6 further counts of attempted murder. Letby has been handed a whole life sentence, meaning she will die in jail and never be eligible for parole. At Manchester Crown Court, Letby was described by Mr. Justice Goss as a cunning liar. Letby is the most prolific serial killer of children in modern British history. The Cheshire Constabulary now suspects that she may have claimed more victims, including at Liverpool Women's Hospital, where 2 babies died while she was training there. Management at the Countess of Chester Hospital were criticized for ignoring warnings about Letby that could have prevented some of the killings. The British government has since announced that an independent statutory inquiry would be held into the circumstances surrounding the murders.